Hello everybody, Sherman here, leaving a legacy by positively impacting people. I want to focus this video on memorization. What you want to remember is the acronym FIG, File, Image, Glue. So think of first about the way that you store information. You actually store information in visuals, in images. And so what you want to be able to do, just like a computer does, is you store them in a file. So oftentimes you want to think about, if let's say I need to memorize the list, it can be on my body. So I think about my feet, my shin, my leg, my butt, my belly button, my ribs, my collarbone, my mouth, my nose, my forehead. That's 10 items. And so what I do, that's my file. That's where I'm going to store information. And then and I do this all the time when I go grocery shopping. Haven't used a list in years. And I'll memorize like 80 things at a time. So in this, what I'll do is I'll put images of, so that's the eye. So the files are the body parts, right? Foot, shin, leg, butt, belly button, ribs, collarbone, mouth, nose, forehead. So what I do with the image is I want to imagine it being very memorable, right? So if I think about potatoes, I might think about the potatoes growing out of my feet. If I think about my shins and I'm going to put cheese there, I might think of my shins being more like graters and I'm grating the cheese on my leg. I think about on the shin. And then on my leg, I think about like eggs and they're just all cracked. They're just all gooey on my leg. My butt, I think about the broccoli. Maybe just I'm pooping out broccoli. That's gross, but whatever. Just go with me. Belly button, I'm like out of my belly button, I'm pulling out tissues and oranges are falling out. And then I go to my ribs and that could be peanut butter, just like ripping it out of, just it's in between my ribs. In my collarbone, I have chicken noodle soup. I'm drinking out of it. My mouth, I'm throwing up milk. Out of my nose, I'm like pushing out toothpaste. And then my forehead, I have English muffins. So I bet if you think about it right now, if you were to pause this, I wonder how many of those things you could still remember, right? Foot, potato, shin, cheese, leg is eggs, butt, you don't forget butt, right? Because that's broccoli. Stomach, oranges and Kleenex, ribs, peanut butter, chicken noodle soup. What are you throwing up? You're throwing up milk, toothpaste. What's on your forehead? English muffins. So the English muffins have been hard to imagine. I forgot to say, I had it open with butter and I just wiped it on my forehead. Real image. So then the glue part is, once you've memorized that, once you put that list together, the file, you put the images there, then the glue is to review that in 10 minutes, and then review it again in an hour, and then review that again in the next day, and review that in after 30 days. And what you're going to find is by doing that, you're going to be able to memorize it that much more easily. And just like a muscle, your memory, your mind needs to be used on a regular basis. Now, for my grocery list, I'll review it. I set it up, and then I'll review it in 10 minutes as I'm on my way to the grocery store. But then I don't do it again the next day because my grocery list resets all the time, right? And so what you're going to find is as you use this mnemonic and you use this file, image, glue method, you're going to strengthen that memory. The other thing, when it comes to people's names, the biggest problem people have, number one, is when they ask, hey, what is your name? They don't actually listen. They're already thinking what they're going to say next. You'll find the same thing when somebody introduces themselves, a server, a waitress, says, this is who I am. You don't even listen to their name. Oftentimes because they have a name tag, and so that you can basically use that as a crutch, but we're just not listening. We're already thinking about the menus, we're thinking about the food, we're thinking about, ooh, that looks good over there. And so our mind isn't even there listening to what they're saying. The other thing is, as you look at their face, number one is you're really good at recognizing people's faces. Now, some people are facially blind, and that's just how they are. But basically, the reason why you're good at recognizing faces is because you needed to know who was friend and foe, kind of that old hunter-gatherer kind of old mind, right? Kind of caveman mind. And so if you memorize people's faces, and let's say their name is Kim. So Kim, what I'll do is I'll slap if you know, like from the 90s, is called Randy Savage, slap me into a Slim Jim. Ooh, yeah. And so what you do is you get a Slim Jim next to Kim's face, and you just plant it there. And anytime that you think of Kim, and you think of this Slim Jim right there. And so that helps remember it. Slim Kim. And so you just think about different kind of ways to be able to memorize someone's name based on an image, and you place it right near their face. Now you want to avoid restaurants because, like, let's say you met a guy named Denny, you might then, unfortunately, because of the restaurant thing, you might think, oh my gosh, is it? I know it's a restaurant, and so it confuses you. You want to really focus it in on actually what their name is. Hopefully that's helpful. Have a fantastic day, everybody.